Alrighty, everybody, welcome to Food for Thought at WLHU. My name is Landon, and today we are going to be exploring how artificial intelligence is changing the college experience for us as college students, from how we learn to how we think or connect with others. I have three special guests at the Lock Haven campus today that I am going to be interviewing to discuss how AI is shaping our education. First up is Jordan, who is sharing his thoughts on the use of AI in assignments. And I asked him whether it helps students learn more or if it's going to make us too dependent on technology. So here we go. All right, Jordan. So do you think that using AI in assignments is helping students learn more, or is it making us too dependent on technology?
So I think it really depends on how you use the AI. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
all AI is bad. However, like if you ask AI to like write your own type of paper or like ask it to solve this math equation, I think at that point it's bad because then you're not really learning or putting in the
Right.
work. But if you like ask AI like, hey, check my paper for any like misspelled words or incorrect punctuations, I think you're using it as more of a tool. Or the way I like to use is I like to use the AI to cite my sources because I think it's a pain
Right.
and I don't want to cite something incorrectly and then, commit like stealing or taking someone's work for my own and then, plagiarism, which is a really bad thing.
Right.
So I think it really just depends on how you use it.
So you'd say more auxiliary means. So rather than doing the brunt work, just having it for examples or other things like that to assist in the learning process.
Yeah, because then you're still like doing the research, you're still having to go like on sites and figure out like, okay, with this source, I need to look this up, and then you have to find all your sources. You start reading, you start doing the research, rather than the AI doing all the work for you.
So to summarize what Jordan said, he sees AI as a helpful tool, but one that shouldn't replace our own efforts or understandings, believing it's fine for us to use to sort of brainstorm or learn concepts, but we can't exactly rely on it too much or we lose what really makes our learning valuable, and that's doing the work ourselves and sort of learning through trial and error and really having the satisfaction of doing things. Which brings us on to Robert's point, is which is about creativity. And I asked him on how AI could possibly hurt original thinking, or if he thinks it might be able to take our future jobs. All right, so Robert, some people might worry that AI might take jobs or reduce original thinking. Do you see this as a real concern for our generation?
I do. I think jobs will almost certainly be lost. Consider the Industrial Revolution as an example. Goods
Mm-hmm.
that were once made by hand began to be made by machines that could do it faster and with more precision.
Right.
I think it will be a lot of the same with this, and workers will either have to pivot current careers or study in entirely new fields to remain relevant. Understand this isn't something that I'm necessarily a fan of. I think that AI is being used in a lot of places that it shouldn't,
Right.
but that is the reality. Um, this is nothing new. This concept isn't anything new. I think the real concern is about the original thinking piece that you mentioned. Off-sourcing thinking and creation to a machine has been shown in studies to decrease brain activity. And in a world where misinformation is so rampant, the ability to critically think and to form your own opinions about things has never been more. And AI really puts that in jeopardy.
Right. Those are some really good points, Robert. Thank you for your time. So for Robert, he did make a pretty good point about like how the Industrial Revolution, comparing it to AI, because we're sort of getting into that boom of where technology again, we're seeing a rise in new technologies and different approaches, and how machines replaced physical labor back then, and now AI is sort of doing the same thing with creativity in a way, and it's sort of in a way, the real concern isn't necessarily about jobs all the time now. It's also just whether or not like where we have AI art now. Is AI art going to be taking over normal artists? Like, are people going to enjoy that more? And like all the restrictions that we're trying to place on that, and that sort of restriction sort of leads into Blake's point because he's sort of going into teaching right now. So I wanted to ask him how AI should be handled in the classroom, in his opinion. All right, so Blake, as a prospective teacher, how do you feel professors should handle AI used in the classrooms, and should there be limits or clear rules regarding AI?
Oh yeah, certainly. I feel like educators in all grade levels definitely need to be wary of encouraging AI use inside of the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
as recently there have been trends with like uh, high AI chatbot usage during the school months, and there's also been a record low testing scores. I personally don't believe these two trends existing at the same time is a complete coincidence.
Right.
I do think there is a heavy causation factor. I do think that inside of the classroom, the focus should be on the teacher student relationship, where the goal is the student is learning from the teacher.
Right.
And ultimately, I feel that AI should not be present in the classroom as it kind of takes away from this person to person interaction and introduces a person to technology interaction. Alrighty, yeah. Not to go off on too much more of a tangent, but I do also do believe that this topic is much more complex than the question of AI or no AI. As I believe you should be asking the question of why are these problems occurring with AI usage in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a societal problem with technology being introduced at younger ages? Could it be not ideal home conditions where learning could be more difficult? Could it just be the mentality of generations? They don't want to learn in school. That just isn't kind of how that isn't their thing. That's not how they think. Or could it ultimately be like a systematic problem with the schools? Is it that teachers aren't making sure their students are understanding what they're
Right.
being taught? Or could it be the idea that teachers just overloading students on homework and assignments and all that type of stuff?
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Blake.
Yep.
So Blake not only talked about the ethical concerns in the classroom, but also looking at sort of why is AI even being used in the classroom, and about like how possible are students feeling too pressured by grades or other things, and is that why they're using the AI? Is it just a difference like when they were raised? There's a lot of different things, but in summary, hearing from all three, Jordan, Robert, and Blake, AI isn't just really changing our education anymore. It's sort of challenging how we define learning, our creativity, and ethics, and all things in many different fields. And if it's used well, it can expand what we're capable of. But like they said, when it's used carelessly, it's dulling the very skills that our college experience is meant to build. So, um, as students, I think the real question for all of us and each and every one of you listening is maybe not how much you use AI, but how are you using it? Like, are you using it to help you, or is it going to hurt you in the long run? And I would like to thank you for listening to Food for Thought at WLHU. I am Landon, and I will catch you next time. Thank you for watching.